I'm
trying to see what that says on your shirt, Justin.
This is a jazz band I just saw.
Oh, sweet.
And that's what Vernon doesn't have much, but we have a good jazz club.
Oh, right on.
It's like you don't feel like you're even in Vernon when you're there. Let's see if I can find it. Hey, everybody. Live. We got Esther
What's
Dennis
up, folks?
in the chat. Adam Wathen. Bobby Klink. Jesper
Couple
Christensen.
familiar
These are some
faces.
but
a
some new
couple
names
new
too.
people too. I like it.
Zach emailed me. He replied to the email saying he's coming back from an appointment, so he wanted to let me know he wouldn't be in the live chat.
We were worried sick.
And we got Ian Landsman, business dad, here as well.
Dad.
In a second, Brian and I will do the official intro, and then we'll go from there.
Ian went all the way on quitting X. Because I tried to tag him today on this tweet for today, and he is not available. But Justin,
you killed your account?
You sort of quit X, but you still have your username, and I see you poking around in there like liking tweets and stuff. Like,
yeah. That's what Adam Wathen called me out on that when I was in Toronto. He's like, I see you liking my tweets.
Yeah.
Here's what I told Adam is that this is so petty, but Christian Genko? Mm-hmm. What is it, Genko or Genko?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know who it is. So.
You know Christian?
Yeah. I feel like you've been in some Twitter debates with Christian.
Maybe this is like the bad pronunciation.
Friend of the show. He was on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like one of the early episodes. Yep.
Yeah, Christian. Anyway, he said, I'll bet you'll be back in a year posting on X. And so I will not post at least for a year.
A year and a day.
But you know what? I browse it, but it's not on my phone. And it has been better for me to just not be on it. And I had all this fear, like, oh, we're going to lose so much business and stuff. And it's been
I don't
fine.
care about the business side. What annoys me is just having the two different apps. Because, like, I'm not one of these people who gets angry at either one of them. Frankly, I enjoy the feed on both of them. And it's annoying to me to have to copy and paste every tweet that I do to both places. But it is what it is.
I get it.
The thing for me actually is like, so I definitely left just with like, I was like, whatever. Everybody has their lines on all these things. I was like, Elon, I definitely left because like Elon, I just can't take it, right? So I left for Elon. Let's just leave it there. But the thing that kind of gets me is, and I'm still on there for like the Mostly Technical has an account, so like I will occasionally be on for Mostly Technical stuff, or like if somebody posts a link to Twitter, I'll go in through Mostly Technical so I can, because now like Twitter boxes it all out, like you can't see like any of the history of a tweet or whatever, or the replies if you aren't logged in, right? So whatever. So like once a week somebody links something and I'll be in there. But the thing that like is crazy to me is I feel like the algorithm is so almost entirely focused on making you sad. Like, and forget Elon, forget Nazis, forget all that meta stuff, right? Forget all the meta stuff. Just purely objectively. Like 2 weeks ago, somebody had a link and I went in there. I was like, I'm looking at the feed. I was like, this is just designed to literally make me sad. It's like, here's a person like building a new help desk app. It's all AI, right? Like, so should I feel sad about that? Here is like somebody who's like, I made $1 zillion in a day, right? Here's like a sad news story. Here's like this. It's like literally thing after thing about like you're not good enough, and the world is shit, and like, it's like that is literally the only thing in the feed. And it's like, I don't know.
I never see it.
Not good.
I just never see. I know everyone always talks about that, like. I just never see it to be that extreme and that bad. And to be honest, and we were talking about this last time, and man, we did not intend to just dive right into politics. But
this is the pre-show.
Okay, this is the pre-show. All right, but you know what? Because we were talking about this last week, how even if you don't use the algorithm, which I don't, I just use the following tab on both platforms. Everyone still edits themselves, but you know what? Like, as someone who, like, I'm mostly like center middle kind of, like, I tend to vote left by default, but I don't really identify with the left anymore. These days, in the last couple months, the last past year, I see more anger and negativity on Blue Sky than I do on my Twitter feed. To be completely honest, like the only thing I enjoy about being on Blue Sky is that most of my friends are there.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy the content and the other half of my friends on X. You know, like because I just see a lot more negativity and like nonsense, politics wise on Blue Sky these days. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been able to. I think my Blue Sky feed's pretty good now, but there's just not as many people there. The feeling I have is just this idea of digital fatigue. I just have fatigue about everything. I used to love getting into Twitter fights. I just do not want to anymore. I used to love, it all feels very performative. It feels like there's all this AI garbage. It feels vapid. I think a lot of people are just tired now of, it doesn't feel like it did in the early days, which is people talking about cool stuff, sharing cool links, sharing the blog post they just wrote. Like Jason Cohen would, he's still doing this, but Jason Cohen would write a blog post and then you could actually just reply to him on Twitter and say, well, what did you mean about this? And you'd have a big discussion.
I just hate the breakup of it all. Because it used to be just Twitter and all of our people were on Twitter. And we only ever need to go to there. And that was our industry's water cooler.
Yeah.
And now that water cooler is Twitter and Blue Sky and Telegram and a bunch of Slacks and then a bunch of this and that. It's like who is where? It's so annoying. I hate that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing with like making you sad feed is like every tweet is like ultra. See, I feel like Blue Sky's still a little bit better for me on this. Is like every tweet is like ultra optimized by like a committee of like AI algorithm experts, right? Of like what is going to get people riled up, and like it's like every single one. It could be like 4 words, but those 4 words, like they just come across as like so inauthentic. There's just like it's so inauthentic. Like practically everything in the Twitter feed. I'm just like, I've been thinking more about. This is a website we could talk about quickly. Is my Landsman.com was like in this terrible state. And me and the AI rebuilt it the other day just because it didn't even talk about mostly technical. It had like nothing there, right? And I was like, I have 20 years of blog posts, right? And I'm like, they weren't even indexed in Google because something was messed up and it was like redirecting wrong or something. So it was like I was totally off the internet, my ianlandsman.com site. So I was like, all right, let me fix this. And I fixed it up just like whatever the AI decided to do. I literally spent like an hour, right, with the AI, just like mostly fixing 900 markdown files, right? And cleaning that stuff up. And
looks good.
Yeah, it looks good, right? It threw it together pretty good. And so it's like, all right, I'm kind of gearing myself back up. I have a few topics in mind for like an actual blog post. And I'm like, maybe I just got to go about this that way. Like maybe we could build like what you were talking about, Justin. We can start to get some more of that, like that vibe of like posting about something. And maybe then you can talk about it on social media, but it's not like you're trying to convey this idea in your 200 characters and that's all you got and you're micro optimizing it and all that,
Yeah, just like following your curiosity, following what is interesting and exciting and vulnerable and real for you, as opposed to it's just so hard, especially when you're like, I get into this all the time posting on YouTube. You post something and you just can't help but go, I hope this gets a bunch of views. And then you're like, start like shoehorning yourself into what will get more views. And I just to be able to, honestly, like the one thing that I don't miss about from selling courses and being a whatever that is, info product person,
thought leader,
is having to every communication I had, whether I was writing an email newsletter or a tweet or making a video, it all had to build up to a launch and me selling something. And now that Transistor's going, the biggest relief in my life has been I can just write what I want to write. I can just publish what I want to publish.
Right. Yeah, that's huge.
It's way less popular. Like it's not, I'm not getting the hits that I used to get, but, and some of that kind of sucks, but it is nice to not feel the pressure of this has got to be a banger because I eventually got to make some money on this thing. Like I got to get some attention. I got to have a little PS, my course is launching in 3 weeks. Like that whole game, I don't miss that at all.
I am walking that line now, but I have in my mind, I've finally like come to this like clear distinction between what is my marketing channels and what is my personal sharing stuff, sharing me, right? And to me, like this podcast and Bootstrapped Web, that's always just been like me, even though it has resulted in business, like that's and I think of Twitter and Blue Sky as well as like that's just sharing whatever is on my mind. It could be about the Mets, it could be about AI, it could be about business, whatever, right?
Yeah.
The YouTube is different. Like I treat YouTube as like this is my marketing channel. So if I'm creating a video there, yeah, I care about the views and the subscribers, and like that's the top of my funnel. So like it's just and I put a lot more effort into like planning it and hiring people to help me build it, which I'm doing. And like but like I you're right. Like there's this like freedom of like just not giving a shit about like what I put out there on these personal channels, Yeah. And like the personal blog, like I rarely write to it anymore because why? Like it's sort of become my annual recap place. I might throw in like a couple extra articles throughout the year, but I used to like really care about like keeping up and like having a consistent feed of like, but like my BrianCasel.com doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things anymore,
I mean, Ian, it's been 5 years. What's going on?
I think I did have one or two newer ones.
I don't think you should be allowed to call.
But...
I don't think you should be allowed to call yourself Business Dad if you haven't published a blog post in the past 3 months.
That's
like,
true. It could be.
You lose the title if you haven't published.
I published a podcast in the last 3 months, though, I feel like that's,
podcasts aren't real.
Yeah. Well, this is like,
like the thing is like, where do most people follow you? It's your podcast, and that's probably the same with me too. Like, because even people who follow me on Twitter, they're probably not catching most of my tweets.
Well, this is the thing with the death kind of RSS. It's been a little bit of a problem in that regard, right? Because it's like, so it's like now I guess the angle, right, is like, well, you have the newsletter that goes with the blog, right? So that you can email people directly, and maybe I'll do that. Like, I don't know. The podcast is definitely, I'm lucky enough that I don't view any of it as marketing. So I feel comfortable like just saying whatever I want to say on any of these platforms. I do think maybe with like, I could see YouTube being the most different for me, but I don't really, other than publishing mostly technical on there, I don't ever do YouTube videos. Maybe that'll change at some point, but yeah, I don't know. I do feel like I've been using RSS more myself, and I'm like enjoying it. It's like, oh, somebody wrote something and I'm reading it, and it's like got a full context of what this person's talking about and the context of the last few things they thought was interesting enough to share, right? And it's like all right there versus like it's just the random tweets and it's all flying around and all the short form stuff. So yeah, there's something there. There's something missing. I don't know. It's probably never coming back though, is the real reality, right? But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I do think RSS feeds are still alive in terms of podcasts.
Yeah, of course.
The blog RSS feed thing, but like that's probably not coming back. But the like going back to what you were saying, Justin, about like caring about like how promotional you are and like your like that was me like I don't know 5-8 years ago when I was doing like the audience ops and the productize course. I did during those years, I did always feel this tension because I knew that most of the audience ops client roster were like listeners of Bootstrapped Web, and or a large portion of them were, and then same thing with like productize course buyers, and that was like a significant income for me for a few years.
Yeah.
And so like all the tweets, everything I shared on air on the podcast, like I'm always thinking about like, all right, like whoever's listening to this, that accounts for the core of my MRR right now. So I have to like be careful about what I say about things.
Yeah.
How, and that was always kind of tricky.
There's also like this different way to think about it.
I really like this better, where it's just like I don't care what I say on here. Yes, it might help a little bit on the sidelines, but like the people discovering me on YouTube don't follow this podcast, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's a safe space here. But yeah,
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, I feel like this has also been like in my brain rattling around. I don't know if I've totally formed it yet, but I think like all the like, you know, thinking about views, or you're on Twitter and the likes and retweets and whatever, all that kind of stuff has also like led us in this like weird direction where, like, of course that those things can be powerful if you're selling something directly to the people, like a course is or whatever, right? Like, of course it could be a business channel. But for me anyway, it's like there's like the difference between being in front of a lot of people or being in front of the right people. It's like one of the things with mostly technical, right? It's like, yeah, I feel like mostly technical, like the listeners we have are like the most influential possible listeners we could possibly have. Like everybody in Laravel Inc., right? All these bootstrappers. Like I feel like I have like a direct connection to so many extremely like important people in our circles. But but it's not that huge a podcast. It's like how do I get every dev in the world to listen? Like it's like the reverse problem. It's like I have all these connections to really important people in the sense of like people in positions of power, let's say, right? But it's like the regular people out there actually are not listening as much as those people, right? But then it's like that's how I felt my blog was 20 years ago too. It's like I have a connection with Joel Spolsky or whatever, like, and those people helped me in the beginning, right? And it's like, so that's really valuable. And then, but when you start to chase the idea of like, well, I just want to get everybody, I want to have 100,000 followers or whatever, right? Then it's like that makes you do things that actually pull you away maybe from the stronger connections to key people.
I mean, I wonder if it's just not possible to make really deep, substantive content and have a Jason Cohen. Like if you look at Jason Cohen, every once in a while, Jason Cohen gets a banger somewhere and people notice and retweet, but his stuff is so deep and
so good,
heady.
Yeah.
It's like the audience for that, like people are just, so most small, of the people out there, they just want a pithy Sahil tweet. Yeah. Like they just want like, you know, and we can come up with.
Dude, I can't take him. Like, it's like, yes, that's so perfect. That's what people think business is like this one sentence Sahil tweet about some petty thing. It's like,
like it's like anything. In business, mindset is everything. So make sure your mindset is right. You know, it's like, well, okay, fine. Those things take off, but then you get somebody that knows their shit and writes this big, like for me to unpack a Jason Cohen article, it takes a long time just to be like, what's he talking about?
You got to take it to the AI.
Explain what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it's also hard realities, you know, like what people want to hear is everything's going to be okay. And this is a dream fairy tale utopia. But the truth is, it's like life and business is complicated and it's not, there's no easy path here. And when Jason Cohen says, you're probably, you know, going to even out, your growth is going to even out, and that's knowable right now, people are kind of like, oh, it's kind of a bummer, you know?
The other thing with Jason, though, I feel like it's very old school, and I love about it, is like the modern equivalent of Jason Cohen is, here's my MRR graph from WP Engine, right? That's the tweet, right? Is here's my MRR graph. I'm exploding upward, right? Yeah, we're killing it with the like customer service and the sales. Like that's all you get. Whereas like with Jason Cohen, you get like here's my MRR graph, but here's like 2,000 words about like what we did to get there, right? And then here's 28 other linked articles in there of how I told you we got here and the details on every option. It's like, yeah, okay, I feel bad about myself because my MRR is not there. But you know what? You're giving me the playbook to actually help me. Whereas this tweet is useless, right? It's just like, I feel bad that I'm not where you are, and that's it. There's nothing else there. It's all just
my thing
empty,
is,
you know?
You know, Ian, you were talking about Jesse Handley's tweet from a week or two ago, which was really good. I don't have it right in front of me, but you know, just talking about like, I think all three of us and people in our direct circles are a little bit older than a lot of the younger guys and gals coming up, you know, and like, what does it actually take to navigate this whole journey and like build your own thing? And I think a lot of it is just like natural entrepreneurial drive. But at the end of the day, I think the hardest thing for people who are a little bit younger, you know, a few years behind us, is sifting through all of just the fire hose of advice that gets thrown around, and of all shapes and sizes, whether it's a 2,000 word thing from Jason Cohen or a tweet from Sahil. Like, the thing is, like, most of these things, they are good advice. It's solid advice for someone. The harder question for each individual is like, is it the right advice for me? And that, like, most people, I know I've struggled with that over the years, is like hearing a lot of like really well respected and like grounded advice, and and I'm sure it's like out of like lived experience and evidence from across a lot of companies and everything, but still you have to adapt it to like, does this apply to me and what my currently situation is, my assets and liabilities, my strengths, my weaknesses, my experience, like where, it's like there's good advice everywhere. Is it the right advice for you? That's why I much prefer, like, just in terms of content, whoever I'm following, any podcasts I listen to in our industry or Twitter, like, I'm not there for the education or the advice. I'm there to hear the real story. Like, I just want to hear what's happening in how are you personally like navigating this. I just want the case study, and then I can pick and choose the nuggets of wisdom that might apply in my situation.
Yeah, the right advice at the wrong time is the wrong advice. That's true. I mean,
and I hate how like build in public, that term has been like co-opted by like, just share your MRR graph. Because to me, I really, really want to see people building in public. I try to build in public. I try to share what I'm building. I want to see what people are actually building, like behind the scenes. That I love hearing people talk about it on podcasts. Tell me about the building. Like, I don't care about the MRR. Like,
Yeah. Let's break this up a little bit, and welcome, by the way, to Ian Landsman.
We're 22 minutes in.
We got right into it. Why don't we just do a quick round of what we're kind of working on, thinking about this week? I can go first. We're doing our team retreat.
I don't have Ian go first.
Well, I'll go first, and then Ian can.
Justin go first. He'll show me the format. Yeah.
Okay.
So this week we're going on our team retreat for Transistor. We're going to Banff, Canmore, leaving on Sunday. Helen in the UK is going to fly on Saturday. Going to meet up in Calgary. We're going to jump in some vehicles, do a little drive through the Rockies.
Oh, that's awesome.
And this will actually be the first time where all six of us, because John had to miss last year, so this will be the first time all six of us are in the same place. We got a photographer booked.
Whoa,
cool.
We're
doing some team photos in the Rockies.
I want to unpack this. I have questions about your retreat.
Okay. Well, let's do a little round, and then we can. What about you, Ian? What are you up to right now?
This week, oh geez, man. I feel like I'm just getting off of summer. It's like our summer was insane, and the kids are busier in the summer than like during school. It's like there's just stuff all day long, and they're doing stuff, and we're driving them, and all the stuff. So I feel like this is back in the first, and my kids go back to school late. They just went back to school Monday, was their first day back at school. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So this week has kind of been like resetting a little bit, prepping, getting ready. Thought I was going to get some Cody type work done, but no coding type work has gotten done, but got some business stuff done. And kind of like I had, backlog of emails and things kind of got cleaned up. So it's been just that kind of thing. And like, the last few weeks before that, I've just going to keep my head above water. So it hasn't been like any work on my side project stuff. There hasn't even been much work on HelpSpot, my main thing. It's just been a lot of business sort of, things. Just I couldn't even tell you what they all were. It's like a healthcare stuff, like insurance. There's like accounts receivable, weird things. The state of Hawaii needed something crazy from us because they're a customer, so we had to like jump through some IRS.
You should probably fly there to figure it out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I do need to go there and have a meeting with those guys. So just like, oh man. And this is the thing. I feel like when your business reaches a certain size, it's not like my business is huge. It's probably smaller than Transistor at this point, but it's like it's just enough that it's like you just have all these little things all the time. They just eat away at your time. And it just is amazing how that happens. Like it's just that there's no time for like what you would call work what you would have called work back in the day. There's no time for that. There's just
well, and it's not the most exciting or compelling content either. This is why it's so hard.
Yes.
Like when you're doing a show or any sort of updates, people want to hear about outro.fm. They don't want to hear about HelpSpot or your administrative.
I have this hunch that you're just starting outro for the content.
That's pretty much what I said on the show. That's not even a hunch. That's just like what I've talked about. It's like, I'd say it's a good, like, let's call it 30%. 30% is like, you know what, this would be fun for the show, which is cool because it like de-risks. It's like, whatever.
I do want to dig into
it,
outro.
Whatever, who cares? Like, it's just, it'll be fun. We're going to do the logo with the fancy logo agency. We're going to talk about it on the show. It's going to be exciting. So, I think it's a cool idea, and I hope it exists in the world, but also it'll be fun for the show, which is definitely not 0% reason to do it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to light a fire under my ass on this Builder Methods business. So 2 weeks ago, I announced this workshop that's happening on Tuesday, September 16th. Because 3 weeks ago, I was like, all right, the only way the ball is actually going to start moving on this is if I put a date on the calendar and start promoting it and start selling tickets. And then, people are, so I don't know, I've sold, I think, close to 100 tickets now.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
Which is definitely a lot more than I expected. Like at first I was like, let's see if somebody buys one. I was like, and then like maybe 20. That'd be cool if I get like 20 sales out of this. I'm not, it's a low ticket price. That's the whole business model with this workshop idea. But I'm doing the workshop on Tuesday. That's like 5 days from now. I have not really prepared anything for it. Like I don't have any slides yet. So I'm gonna have to, procrastinate that like I've always done. But that's sort of the whole point, is like it's happening September 16th, so I'm gonna have to get this figured out between now and then. I'm not too worried about it.
Well, I mean, I think,
but the thing that I'm spending all my time right now preparing is that on that day I'm going to be opening up the doors to this new subscription membership for Builder Methods Pro. So I'm setting up the systems for being able to buy that, and what do people get inside. I think it's going to be a Discord plus content, which I haven't created any content for that yet. So it'll be interesting to see what I could get away with in terms of like pre-selling this thing before the product really exists. I have some open questions about that, but
well, let's jump into that, because I think Ian and I might both have ideas and things to help. One thing I'll say is I love the workshop. I love the workshop in terms of a like low threshold thing to do, because the important part is you put something up for sale, people are signing up. I mean, I sent it to my team as well, but we're on team retreat while you're doing it. But this is exactly the kind of thing that I think does get passed around Slack groups. Like
it does.
We've been trying to figure this out,
I'm getting some interesting signups, both ticket purchases and inquiry. I get regular inquiries every day for coaching and from teams. I do want, by the way, on this podcast, Ian, you gave me some interesting advice this week. I want to get to that because it's different from what I've heard about teams. With
interesting advice, as in like
iffy advice.
I'll anyway, like there are some like big like well-known like companies and stuff like buying tickets to this thing and reaching out about coaching and stuff. But yeah, like the workshop, and like workshop is a weird name for it, because the way that I'm thinking about it is and I'm promoting it as like probably half of it is going to be a couple slides and talking points, and then the other half is just an open discussion. Just ask anything. Let's talk about what's working, what are the current workflows, who's using what, like what's my take on this. Like I'm also trying to be like, I don't really have all the answers, but I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing out there. But anyway, the thing I want to get to at some point here is the question of like, what do I do with the leads or the inquiries from teams for Builder Methods Pro, or just Builder Methods in general? Like right now, like nothing actually exists on Builder Methods. It's just my YouTube channel, and I've got this website, I've got a contact form on it, and I've got this newsletter that people sign up for. And I'm sort of like promoting potential ideas for courses, potential ideas for coaching, but I'm not actually really. A couple people have purchased, but like not many. And so up until now, most people who look at this, who look at what I'm doing here with Builder Methods is like, you should sell coaching to teams. They're saying you should, like, that's where the high ticket, that's where the high revenue potential is. That's definitely, I'm hearing it directly from team leaders. Like, this is the pain point. People want their teams to get up to speed on AI. You know, they have dollars to throw at that problem. You know, and so, but I have felt this friction of like, okay, like, yes, I'm hearing the inquiries, I'm taking sales calls, but I don't want to just create a consultancy here. I'm trying to create a business that I want to run for several years, and that looks more like a Laracasts for the build in with AI space.
Yeah,
Ian, you were the first person. So we were batting this around in our little Telegram group this week, and Ian, you were the first person to sort of point out, like, just forget the team stuff and just focus on building the educational feed of course content for the membership and like really just framing it as like, this is Laracasts or Go Rails for building with AI. Yep. And then I start to wrap my head around. It's like, I love the idea of just like putting something that I thought had to be part of it, just putting that aside, and like it feels so much better this way. Like it just feels so much simpler and clearer, and the value proposition. And as I'm working on like the sales page, it's like, okay, I'm really just selling educational content and access to this community. And
I'm wondering why you said that, Ian. Why go the course way instead of the team consulting way?
Well, yeah, it's not even really course, right? It's like a subscription course, right? It's a subscription video platform, right?
Exactly.
So like,
I'm not doing like the big course thing. It's like
right, not
just
a course
feed
launch
of mini.
Mostly because I think the other stuff to me seems very like a distraction, and combined also with the fact that my understanding was Brian's looking for more like this sustainable business, and I just feel like consulting is rarely that. Like, obviously I know a lot of consultants and they have created that with over a lot of time, with a lot of work, and like, but there's, I mean, every consultant I know is like, it's only ever better than it's ever been, or I'm not sure we're gonna make it. Like, I feel like they're just, I mean,
that's my life right now.
Right?
It's like
I
have a couple consulting clients that come and go, you know, and
it's either you're overwhelmed, it's like I need to hire people or whatever because I have so many leads, and then you hire the people, and then the economy changes or whatever happens, right? And then now I have extra people, and I don't have enough work, and all that.
Well,
stuff,
the thing with Builder, the idea with Builder Methods was not necessarily to make the whole business dependent on the consulting with large teams. It was more about like, okay, I'm going to do this membership thing, but the fear is that there's going to be a ceiling on how much revenue that can actually grow to, both in terms of like price point and how long it'll take to get a good sized customer base. Yeah. So in order to bridge that gap, I'm going to have some higher ticket offers out there.
I think that's the one with the least ceiling to me, because like you can only do so much AI consulting for teams. Like there's only one of you, and you can only have so much time to do it, right? So like, even though it is more money, of course, it's like you're going to charge somebody $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever to do this consulting gig, that you can only do a couple of those at a time. Again, it depends exactly what you're offering and how in depth and blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was it would be very like, it would be like one private workshop for their team,
right?
You know, like
I guess you can only charge so much money
still,
for
like,
that.
it's
you know, like
I still just don't want things on my calendar or like calls.
Yeah, it's still going to be heavy, and I still think those are hard things to close. Like if you're thinking you're going to be able to charge $5,000 and for like a 3-hour workshop, I feel like that's going to be a hard deal to close. Like not impossible, but like you're not going to close all those ones that come in. And if they do, then you should take them, and that's fine. But I feel like, like look at this workshop. You've sold 100 tickets to this workshop, right? Like it's like a nice price point. That's what I feel like the same thing about the video course. It's like, hey, it's $15 a month or whatever, right? It's in that range, like $20 a month or whatever it is.
We can get into the pricing. I think I'm only going to do annual. But
whichever, like it's a approachable cost that people can get into.
And it did just focus me on like, just build the thing,
Yeah,
the main
yeah.
dish.
Put the consulting in the thing. Like, here's a video
And
on
that's
how
the
to get
thing,
your team started, right?
Like
all
you can,
those things.
yeah, like it can still be sold to teams. If you want your
Yes.
teams to be up to speed on AI, just get them all Builder Methods Pro memberships, you know?
Yes, exactly.
And so like that also focused me in on like, okay, well, so like, what does it take to go from 0 to I have a subscriber base that's growing, and like like the bottleneck is time. And so I started to realize like I have to keep YouTube going. That's extremely time consuming for me. So like this week I have to hire a video editor so that I can like double the output on YouTube and free myself up. Because that's the thing. It's like there's so many like trade-offs with everything. If we're only going with memberships, which are generally lower priced, we have to go higher volume, which means I have to have a larger top of funnel, which means YouTube has to keep growing and grow pretty fast. In order to do that, like I'm currently only capable of doing like 3 videos a month, and each one takes me several days. I need to like double that output. So I need to hire a video editor and then just focus all my time on churning out those videos, churning out some content for the members, and, you know, setting up this funnel to bring in people into the membership. You know, and like,
I have a few thoughts.
Yeah, let's have 'em.
I mean, I think this is what's so hard about business is you've got to try things, and then typically what happens is you choose a topic or a product that's at least somewhat interesting to you or has piqued your interest for some reason. So Ian chose customer support software, I'm assuming because you'd used it before. I can't remember the story.
Yeah,
you were like at a college or something.
One at a college. Yeah, it was like a mainframe based and horrible. And that was
so there's something that drives you to go, you know what, this could be better. I'm going to try to fix this. But what happens after that, what you typically end up following in terms of your energy is usually where you get the best results. So, you know, if you get a bunch of money from consulting and the leads are just coming in every month and it's doing well, then you end up saying, well, consulting's great. I'm going to go after consulting. Right. If you do a course business or a membership business and you know, I always think of Adam Wathan with this, because he messaged me when he was about to launch his first course, and I had done marketing for developers. It had done pretty well. So I'm giving all these tips to Wathan, and then he started sharing with me what he was making after he launched it. Like, I shared my email sequence and all this stuff. He's using my exact email sequence. It's not like he's marketing any different or any better than me, but the combination of his profile and just how many software developers there were out there that wanted that thing and had money in hand was eye-opening, because all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, this is just
you know what's interesting about that is the like the volume play, and it's what always trips me up is my past experience and the things that I had a hard time with in the past, I just assume are things that I can't do. So like every time I've ever tried to do a volume play in my previous businesses, it never worked, right? Like at one point with Clarity Flow, previously Zip Message, it was like, let's do freemium. Let's have a free plan and do a volume play on that. And like, I couldn't make that work. I was like, I guess that's just not my skill set to do volume, right? Even like audience ops, like we did really well with just a small client base that, you know, like higher ticket stuff, you know? And like I've always kind of leaned more heavily into like the bootstrapper mindset of like, just find something that you can charge more for so that you don't have to, you know, because like top of funnel volume has never been my strength. Right. And so I always lean away from that. And that's what has me with builder methods. It's like, well, if I'm going with the volume play and sort of saying no to or putting aside the higher ticket, you know, it makes me a little uneasy. Like, is this going to work? You know, but it's like, I already have a little bit of evidence that like it could be different this time. Like the YouTube channel I'm seeing numbers there that I've never seen before. The email list, the you know, the ticket sales. Like, so there is a world where it's like, you could just forget about the past experience and see, because this is a totally different time. This is a totally different market, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's like, go ahead, Justin.
No, go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think the main thing to me in that, and that was, I think, one of the things I sent you too, is like this. The thing about this is that like it's super hot, right? Like the coaching software was not super hot. Like there were coaches and they needed software, but it wasn't like every coach in the world just discovered coaching software and they're all looking for coaching software. And like, so that was going to be a more traditional sales process where you're going to have to like knock on 1 million doors and really convince them they need this. That's going to improve their lives and blah, blah, blah. Right. Whereas like, this is like, man, it's like, there's just chum in the water, right? Like everybody's out there. Like we got to build with AI or build with AI, blah, blah, blah. So like it's much easier in that regard to be like, hey, just anything to get them in the door. You're going to be able to get them. You're gonna have way more people even kicking the tires. Who knows?
It does feel like
hold
that
them
wave
and all that, but
like it does feel like that momentum. You know, Justin, you've written a ton about this, and like for the last 4 years, as my mindset has been like, I need to figure out what my next business is going to be, what I'm going to sink the next several years into. I've been jumping around and sort of looking around for what that's going to be, but it wasn't until the past year where it's like, okay, this wave is actually swelling, and like this is something, and it fully aligns with what I'm personally into with building, you know, software, building with AI. So like, it's like I couldn't just make this happen for me and my business like 2 or 3 years ago, because the wave didn't quite exist yet, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And I do think it's important to get the positioning right. And to get the positioning right, I do think you just want to be thinking observing all these people that are signing up and watching your videos. And if I was you, I'd be taking those calls with teams just to be figuring out what
that's
they want.
also why I'm like hesitant to say like I'm not serving teams, because I am. Like the thing I'm building this week is like the ability for teams to sign up for Builder Methods Pro.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, here and there I you know, a big like a big ticket thing comes along, like I'll do a private workshop, sure, but like it's just not something that I'm like stressed about building a big sales page for right now or anything like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it happens,
like the inquiries are coming in even without that. So
like I've got people here in this co-working place that work for massive multinational enterprise companies we've all heard of. And when I talk to them, I tell them about, my buddy Brian's building this thing. I've told them about Agent OS. And what they're telling me is my boss and from the CEO on down, we're getting a constant directive to use AI as much as possible. We're getting as much budget as we want for exploring AI. We can use all the tools. They're just saying, we want this fully deployed. If you're not using AI as a developer, you're fired. Like very strong language.
I'm getting exactly that feedback in a lot of the signups, and I could see it in the people who are signing up. Like they're from companies, they're in this job.
Yes, and so
they're just signing up for everything they see.
The tricky part is if somebody from Cloudflare signs up. Cloudflare is a big company that has a lot of money, and if Cloudflare can learn from Brian, even just Brian's best practices in terms of Agent OS, and maybe they've heard about Agent OS and they want to implement it, but they need help because they're Cloudflare, they're a big company. If you can improve Cloudflare's efficiency by 3%, that's like billions of dollars that you've just made them. So it doesn't make sense to charge them, $500. You've potentially created a bunch of value. Now, I don't know how you close those deals, like Ian said, but there is something about that. And I've always been the guy like you that's like, no, I'm just going to sell it to prosumers and independent businesses and all. And then my buddy Tim takes all of my ideas and he goes and sells them to like one of the biggest retailers in the world. Yeah. And he's like, Justin, these are all your ideas from your blog, but if I make them 3% more money, that's billions of dollars, and they're willing to pay me a lot. And he's like, it's not that hard. He's like, I just flew down to their head office and, I just knock on the door until I get some answers. And, it's possible to do some of this stuff. And
it's possible, but it's also like, you know, if there's a good business to be had that aligns with the type of business that I'm trying to build, which is I just want to spend. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday about like there was a time when I came into my office and every single morning I was psyched to be here because I'm just building stuff and I'm creating stuff. Like that's all I want to be doing most of the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing like 70, 80% of the time. Some days I have to do a client project, or some days I have to do the support inbox for Clarity Flow. You know, and like if I can just eliminate that stuff and just create content and build tools, like that's all I want to be doing every single day, like my own products like that, you know, that's
yeah. Well, there's always like opportunity cost, right? It's like Jeffrey Way of Laracast, right? He is the most, I mean, he's as well known as Taylor, basically, at least up until maybe the past year or two. But I'd say before that, like they are almost equally known. So like Jeffrey could have gone out there and been a consultant. He had the biggest name recognition possible in the community, but he's never done that, right? Because he's like probably A, because he doesn't want to run that kind of business, and B, he's like making so much money and busy with the business he has, right?
Yeah, like he has the volume coming his way anyway, so like
and
you can make something from that.
Yeah, so it's like I think there is always that trade-off of like, well, you could do that, but it's going to be hard. You're also going to be competing with Accenture and McKinsey, right? Like McKinsey's trying to go to Cloudflare and be like, I could save you 2% with AI, right? And we're going to come up here with 700 people and we're going to go into every corner, right? So like it's hard as like a solo guy to be like, I could do it too, right? Like I think, whereas like if you go from the ground up, like you might still have that impact and you won't be able to capture all the value of it, but kind of who cares? It's like if you get 20 Cloudflare devs and they're going to pay you each $400 a year, and they're going to tell a bunch of devs they know on social media, and then you're going to get 20 more from each of those 20, right? Like that's all just works still in your favor. And we know that these are people who have money. We know they're all paying $200 a month for Claude, right? So if you need to charge them 20, 30, 40 bucks, whatever, 50 bucks, whatever it is, to like make them more efficient with their $200 they already have in, right? Like this all works together, you know?
You know, and something we chat about a lot is like it's right there. It's like getting to that freedom. It's like you guys obviously have it in your current businesses. I had it before, but you know, in the last couple of years, I've been trying to get back to it. It's literally like what I'm working on right now with Builder Methods is like, the way that I look at it is like it's just a couple of months away. If I could just build this into the beginnings of the recurring revenue and a membership base. Of course, there's all the challenges of membership. There's going to be churn to deal with and limits on what you can charge for it and everything. But the opportunity cost, if I get distracted with some big engagement over here or some other project that takes me away from just grow the YouTube channel and just grow the membership, like.
Well, I also think order of operations wise, like it's easier to get people to spend less money, just period, right? So like, so you have more direct connection right now with like individual developers than with CEOs and CTOs, right? This is more your current audience. So I also feel like phase one, get the platform, get customers in the platform, right? Now, once that's going,
and
like
that
only gives
also
more
enables
credibility.
Me to eliminate everything else. Like, because I have these other distractions, whether it's,
I would
whether
get
it's
rid of
Clarity
every
Flow
distraction.
or client work.
That was my main advice.
I could be just a few months away from eliminating that stuff. You know?
Right. And even just within Builder Methods, like don't get distracted. You need to make YouTube videos and you need to produce videos that are on the paid platform. Like those are the things that absolutely must happen. And then in a year, if you have 1,000 paying customers or 2,000 paying customers or whatever in a year, right? You could always stand up a consulting thing then. Be like, look, Brian Casel, the creator of Builder Methods, now we offer this consulting thing and you're gonna be able to charge way more money for it because you're gonna be like, we have the preeminent platform in AI coding tools and techniques, blah, blah, blah. Like right now I'm charging $50,000 or you'll never do it. Right. But either way, it's like, that opportunity is not going to be missed, I guess is my point. Like that's an opportunity that could come later and be better later than it would be today. Whereas like the video stuff I think is different. I think the video selling the platform itself, like I think in 12 months, every fool in the world is gonna have an AI coding video platform. So like you want to be in there earlier. Plus there's Udemy or whatever, there's all the big video course platforms already, right? So like you want to catch the wave. Like you don't want to miss the wave and be the guy who's trying to swim against the wave or the tidal wave of competition that's already there. Like you want to be out there early.
I also really think that the investment in general in audience for what I'm doing, like it's already working in terms of like driving the top of my funnel today. If I can triple, quadruple the YouTube subscribers and just keep that train going, that's exactly what this business needs for the top of the funnel, but B, like just long term in terms of like choosing any business that I'm going to sink years into. I like the idea of like at this time investing in audience. Like in the future, that's the type of thing that like just produces unforeseen opportunity
and also just
visibility.
Investing in audience in something that's hot, right? Like you were investing in audience and coaches too, but did you have 100 people sign up for a webinar in a week? Do you know what I mean? Like,
but also like I can't, like I physically can't do that because I don't identify as a coach. I don't.
Well, there's all that
connected to coaches,
too.
but like I am a builder.
It's easier to connect to this audience. It's more natural, but I just think it's a better audience, right? It's like I always tell people never sell anything to devs. Like this is one of my top rules: is that devs are the worst customers. You should not sell anything to devs. And I stand by this rule, and I think there are very, very few exceptions. But I do think sort of coaching, training stuff is a reasonable exception to that. Like I've seen that work enough times with like bootstrappery type folks that I'm like, okay, like I think that's reasonable. Like you could sell that to software developers because also not the kind of thing they really move on from. Like the biggest problem with developers is they're always looking for the next best thing. It's like, oh, what editor am I in? Oh, you're on a better editor? I'm gonna move to this better editor, right? It's like we go back and forth. Claude, GPT-5, oh, GPT-5, oh, Claude updated, right? You're always like, they're terrible customers. Like, I want a customer who signs up and doesn't leave for 20 years. That's my favorite kind of customer. Not the one who's always looking for the next best product that's this much better than the product they are already using, right? Like, it's a terrible customer.
But and that's also where I think the investment in audience and also community, that's where you get that like loyalty, that connection that you just don't personally just don't want to leave.
Because there is a big, there would be a big incentive if I'm a professional developer right now and I'm like, I got to figure this out. Like management is breathing down my neck or all of my clients are expecting this. And you're just looking for some sort of, for me, it feels like once you get a bunch of people in a Discord group or whatever, that's going to actually solve a lot of problems in the sense that you're going to know who the group is. They'll have proven themselves and that they've paid something. And then you can do the work of like DMing them and saying, hey, like, can you tell me why you're here?
Yeah,
like,
what does it take to
what's motivating you here?
What does it take to attract more of them?
And you're going to get all sorts of answers.
I have one more question for you guys, and then we'll get off of me. I want to hear that outro and everything. On that, so, okay, on Tuesday, I'm doing this workshop.
Yeah.
I have basically the website like set up, ready to start selling annual memberships to Builder Methods Pro.
Yeah.
The only benefit that I have ready to deliver on Tuesday is like a Discord, and I haven't even opened that up yet. Like I haven't even created that. Like sometime between now and Tuesday I'll do that, but like I don't have any premium course content to start delivering on day one. So this is, I guess you could think of this as like the pre-sale, like these are going to be the quote unquote founding members. They're going to get a discount. How comfortable are we with that idea of like just starting to open the doors and I've already started to like drip out, like you've signed up for this workshop, you've paid for that ticket. Just so you know, I'm going to be introducing Builder Methods Pro, and I've asked for like pre-interest. A lot of people are interested in it. I'm getting messages like, I can't wait to join that, whatever it is. But it is like I'm going to be asking for like an annual fee, a couple $100, on the promise that over the next several weeks, I'm going to start to drip out some educational content.
Yeah, I think you should.
Like on day one, you'll get the community. But it's going to take months to build up a decent library of 10, 20, 30 videos that you could start watching.
Yeah, I think you should offer it. I think the positioning will be important, but I do think you should offer something for sale. Again, because I think right now what I'm seeing is just a bunch of people freaking out going, and they're looking on Twitter and all they're getting is the AI thread boys saying all this bullshit. They're like, I need a calm voice to just help me ride out this storm. And I think you should have some sort of next step after the workshop. So I think you should offer it. Again, I think, maybe it's a little bit less expensive for the people that start. Maybe you say, you know what, I'm just going to take 20 people right now. So if you want in first and you want to be able to help us figure this out, I'm going to give 20 spots and then I'm going to close it down and then there'll be a waiting list.
I figured I would make the heaviest discount for the first 20 or 30 people, or whatever that number is going to be, and then but the other benefit of membership, if I do keep doing these workshops, which I think I will, again, these are more like open, office hours, open discussion sessions. The general public would buy tickets to those, the members get in for free. So that's another immediate benefit that you could, maybe 4 weeks later I'll do another workshop that members can just attend.
And once you get that initial group in, you could also position this to say, listen, everybody needs help here. We need to figure this out. I've figured some stuff out, but once we're in the community, we're going to start, you'll be able to vote on what I start producing. So here's a bunch of ideas. And if this idea rises to the top, okay, that's the first thing we're going to do.
I'll do a video on that next week, or we're going to do this sort of thing for the members.
And you send them a link of your early edit. If you've got a early draft edit, here's the draft edit. What do you guys think? If they have questions, I'll update that. Then you're getting a way better product. And the people in the community. The other thing I think is that's underrated is that people in community, they want you to solve their problem, but they also want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of the, we're all in this together, or we're going to help suggest what we want. Because people are have a million ideas about Agent OS and all sorts of stuff. It's
I think there's different
it,
pain points that's actually bringing people in currently. But I think the biggest one across the board, no matter who you are, whether you're a junior developer, you're a team leader, is everyone with this AI, building with AI stuff, they're just trying to see how other professionals are using it, and everyone is using it differently. Most of the time I'm in Claude Code. Ian, I know you're in Codex a lot. Everyone's got their own preferred tooling, and even within those, their own way of doing spec driven or doing prompting or everyone's got their own process. Whereas years ago, it used to be all right, there's this test driven development approach. There's this all right, Laravel has that framework, Rails has that framework, and there's more or less a way to build software, an accepted workflow. Yeah, it's the Wild West right now with building with AI, and there's some popular tools, but the way that we all use these tools is so different, and that's what people want to see. That when people are constantly asking me for a community around Agent OS, around all this in general, they just want to see how people are actually using it, and that's the thing is I want to make this membership not really just about me. It's come in here, share what you're working on, share what's working for you, share your projects.
And that could be a recurring content type. Hey, this week I did a call with Frank from IBM, and we're going to see how they are using these tools inside of IBM. There's
I like that a lot too, actually.
There's a lot of value in curation. Yeah. So if you're the one who's bringing the group together and curating the group, this is why the mostly technical party at Laracon was so popular. It's the group is curated. We all love this show. We're all here. The value is Brian is bringing these people together because individually nobody else can do that. So I would also not undersell that a big draw is just Brian is curating this group.
Bringing people together. That's
bringing people together. Yeah.
I love it. All right.
All right. We've got.
I want to hear about outro.
Yeah, we've got lots of people in the chat that want to hear about outro.
Oh, geez. Okay.
I forgot to look at the chat.
Churkin says, ask Ian how much he is trying to. He said infest, but I think he meant invest in outro. Because
invest.
I feel like sometimes I spend too much money on side projects and they don't take off. So what's...
By the way, outro.fm, right?
Yep.
right.
Outro.fm. I'll bring it up on screen here.
Plan, organize, and monetize your podcast. Shut up and take my money.
There we go, right? So that's the idea. Yeah. So I took that.
Well, my first question, Ian, is like, how come I can't sign up for anything on this?
Well, you could go to Mostly Technical and sign up, become a member of Mostly Technical, a free member of Mostly Technical. And
it says I can sign up right here. There's a sign up page I just found on the login.
Oh, on the login.
That probably does it that way too. This is very early here, guys. Very early. Right there, you can become a member, become a free member right there. Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I think I already did this.
Yeah, I think you did. And then you can click it and like whatever, all the stuff. Yeah. So
I have some questions about because I've heard you talking all about it on the show. I get that my sense is you're going for this. I mean, you write it there, this like all-in-one type of platform. I sense that you're starting to lean a little bit more into like the idea of like building a kind of a membership community around your podcast, which I do think that is the strongest play. That was sort of my thinking when I was doing Ripple. Anyway, like I want to hear what is your case for this? Like, where's the value?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. I mean, I think maybe I'm wrong, but the way like Ripple approached it, I thought was more like the community communicating amongst each other. There's like a forum around the show, kind of, right? Is that correct? Yeah. So I guess I think about this a little bit differently, and not that it won't have that ability, because probably there will be like a place where you can just have like open discussion or whatever. So it's not that wouldn't be there, but I view it a little bit more like Substack, in that like you are pushing things out to your community, and yes, the community can comment on your posts, and yes, there's probably a way to like just have open chats or whatever, but it's more about the like content is the center, and then people are commenting on the content, maybe you're polling and things like that. But so it's like subtle, but I do think there is like a little bit of a different take there, I guess I would say about that. And then also like, of course, like, providing perks to the members. So whether it's like popping your Transistor private RSS feed, and this would be the way you can distribute that to your members, or downloads. Like I'm a member of a Patreon of like a photographer, and he like posts, photos, just like the raw photos of his stuff, right? And so you can have like those kind of perks and things like that. So that's kind of like, the member aspect. And there's definitely like, it's two sides of this app, and they are quite different. There's like the podcast organization. Like I'm literally organizing this episode. Like you are everything from like a not professional podcaster up to like, I think of this as like even a tool for like very professional podcasts, and like I can break out all the segments. I can have notes on the segments. I can have comments on the segments. I can have video links and everything. Like, so I'm fully producing and prepping a show, like totally different than what we've done here, right? Which is like hop on this show and we all just chat, right? Like that's one end. But on the other end, there's lots of shows that are highly produced. And then there are, of course, many in the middle that like Mostly Technical. We always have a list of things we're going to talk about in Trello.
Yeah, you guys are so much more organized.
But yeah, but we're not all the way to like it's really buttoned down. I want us to be a little more buttoned down, which is hopefully what Outro will help with. So there's that part of it.
I like on the value proposition. When I've heard you talk about both sides, I think there is probably this quote unquote professional podcasting industry, like the larger podcasts that are like actually like media brands, where I could imagine they have a process, they have producers, they have teams and everything, where you do sort of need like a project management tool for podcasters. But like, I don't know anything about that world. I'm just like a hack bootstrapper podcast with, so that's where I just don't really relate to like what that pain point would be in a product.
Yep.
But where I do think the value side is like listeners of a podcast, like what as a podcaster, if I don't have a way to ask for my listeners to put in their email address or literally subscribe, not just to RSS, but give me their email, then I can't really reach my listeners except for publishing another episode. And it's like having that like private podcast feed with an email opt-in, getting them into some form of a community, like that's actually valuable to like even small podcasters,
So you got it. That's it. That's it. So I kind of view it as the production side of the app, where you're organizing your episodes and that part of it, as being free, even though it could absolutely be a tool you sell for a lot of money to a more professional podcast. Like if you're a Ringer Network podcast, if you're Joe Rogan, right? If you're whatever, like you have multiple hosts and multiple producers, and you got all and whatever they're using right now, which is there's no tool really to do this, so they're using Trello or Google Docs or whatever they use to organize their show on a high level, right? So I think one version of this product could have been, it's going to be $300 or $400 a month. It's a tool for professional podcasts who are making a lot of money to organize their show, and that's what it is. Like, it's just the production side of it. But that's kind of like an enterprise sales angle, right? It's like not ever going to have that many customers. It's going to be a specialized tool for podcasts that are making 100,000 up in revenue, and we're starting to get into like a pretty small number of podcasts that exist in that realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and just in general, this is my side project. I want to do something that's like going to reach more people. I don't necessarily want just another thing to enterprise sell, right? So then the other angle to me was, yes, exactly what you kind of said. And like, I view then now the production side of it as totally free, because what you use now is totally free, right? What you use now is Trello and Google Docs and whatever. So me trying to come in here and be like, well, pay me $10 a month, which is, you're not going to pay more than that anyway, but you don't even want to pay that because you're already using these free tools, right? So
I feel like that's the thing with like any SaaS that starts to veer into project management land, you immediately start competing with everything that's free, you know?
Exactly. So I feel like it has to be free. So it's free, but it's like Trello or Google Docs, but actually understands you're making a podcast instead of just here's a generic list and hopefully you figure out some strategy for organizing it and all that stuff, right? So get them in the door with like this tool that's free that helps you make better shows. That's like step one. Then how we make money is what you just described, which is step two, which is like build your audience. Because we all know, like when you make a show, you actually get surprisingly little feedback. Even as you get into thousands of listeners, it's like you'll get a couple comments on social media, or if you're on YouTube, you get a couple comments down there.
It's the classic thing.
You're not like, getting tons of feedback, right? Like, no. So.
And yeah, that's the thing about podcasting. Even with like a pretty large, solid audience, like we used, like Bootstrapped Web and even us with the panel, like we get some comments and we have this nice live chat and stuff, but like people are not really. I'm always kind of surprised when somebody just randomly tells me that they've been listening to the panel. It's like, oh, you have? Like, because I haven't heard from you.
When we did the party, it's like all these people were there, and I was like, this is amazing. Like all these people, it's like they don't ever comment, but they're coming to my party in real life, you know, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, so can we add tools that make it more likely for you to succeed? And part of it is like people just lose energy, right? It's like, well, I'm talking and maybe I have the stats. Like Transistor tells me people are listening, but it's not.
I mean, that was the thing that
I can't
that's
feel
why
it, right? So
that's why
yeah,
that's why I like what you're doing, because that's what drove me to start playing with Ripple, which became like a project for me. But the driver was this sense that like every podcast is a community, whether they realize it or not. Like,
yeah,
because everyone because if you listen to a podcast every single episode, which many people do, like
you're all in the know on that. Yes.
You already, by that nature, you have so much in common with every other listener who doesn't miss an episode.
Yep.
You just vibe with that host, that personality, that topic. So anything to connect those people together.
Well, that's like even like some of the stuff. One of the things I think Substack has, which is cool, is just like there's like a like type button or whatever. Like, it's like you don't even have to comment. It's like just, hey, here's a little heart icon thing, right? And it's like just a little interaction. So can we make like those little interactions, build up the way to connect with people, with your audience in ways besides just making another show, like you said, and just build up those audience tools, which again is just yet another thing you have to figure out on your own. Which for us, we can of course do it right because we know how to do it. But it's like, go figure out MailChimp, go figure out ConvertKit, go figure out whatever, how do I tie that in to where they do with the show? Like there's all these other steps that become yet more tools that you need to have to make it all work together. And again, it's more barriers to like having a successful show. So yeah, it's like,
I think my question, well, my question also still comes back to like, how serious are you about outro?
Me?
Like, yeah,
Oh, it's
like,
gonna-
because
it's going to
like
exist.
what I,
Like,
and what I
I'm-
mean is like, I know you're
yeah.
building it. I know you're doing like the weekends thing on it, but like, what are you doing in terms of like bootstrapping it, like talking to first users outside of just you and Aaron, and like doing the things that like a bootstrapped startup would normally be doing, or is it really just more for fun putting it out there? You do have mostly technical to get it out there.
Yeah, so I think I'm in a little different spot, right? In that and this is just my personality somewhat too. Like, it's like your question before about like, I'm gonna start selling this thing and there's no videos in it. Like, I would have personally a little bit of a hard time with that. Like, I'm more of a like, I build it and when it's done, I shall release it kind of mentality. And I don't think that's necessarily that's not a approach I would even necessarily recommend to somebody starting out, right? But this is my approach, and also I have a product that makes a good amount of money, and so I don't have that pressing need to like where I must get it out. And so
and it's not like you need to validate your like. This is a product that you want to build. You're scratching your own itch.
Yes.
And it's not like you need to validate or invalidate it and then decide to go to a different product. Like, you don't want to do a different product. So
right. Exactly. So to me, it's like I'm not going to wait till I'm done with it, but it's like Aaron hasn't even used it. It hasn't been used yet by anybody. And it's just not that far along yet. So it's pretty far along, because we could talk about the AI development and all that stuff. Like, it's way farther along than it would have been if I didn't have AI to help me, but it is still not quite ready to use. So once it's ready to use, I'll start using it. We'll get some other people in there. But then, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's all doable. Like, there's nothing in here that's like, boy, how are we going to do that? Like, the technology doesn't even exist. Like, this isn't that kind of product. Like, it's fairly cruddy. So my phase one, and because the time pressure isn't as heavy for me, is to like build it so it's workable, start using it myself, let friends and family and people who are interested use it as a phase one.
Wait, you have family that's going to use this thing?
Not actual family, but you know, you guys, you know. And then go from there on. I think I know a lot of people in podcasting. I know a lot of people in circles that listen to and produce podcasts a lot. So I feel like I could do the podcast tours, and I have money to do advertising. Like, I have those type of things that can then follow on after that. So that's kind of that's my plan, which is not a plan I would recommend for necessarily somebody who's like, I have a full-time job and I'm trying to do a traditional bootstrapped weekend project. Like, I don't think it's a good idea to try to do a product that's replacing 7 other products. Like, I would say that's a bad idea, right? You shouldn't do that. So this is do as I say, not as I do on my advice here to some degree, but because I'm in a little bit different position than somebody else might be with it. But yeah, that's kind of it. But I am excited about it, and I do, in terms of like my seriousness about it, I'm pretty serious. Like, I mean, I'm spending 5 figures, a lot, on a logo, and like, I'm intrigued by the idea of like the more like, this is a weird space. I've heard Justin try to describe it before, like a prosumery, like a different space than the pure, hey, we're enterprise B2B. Like, that's what HelpSpot is all day long. Colleges, banks, whatever, like very traditional. Go to a committee. The committee's going to think about it for weeks, months. We had a customer today who like didn't pay their bill, and we turned them off like 8 months ago. And then they just came back today and are like, oh, turn us back on. We need to keep using, like, just crazy enterprise stuff like that, which is like, so it's going to be cool to be like, oh, if I can convince this person who is the host of a podcast to use it, well, then I got the sale. There's no like other level of people who are going to be involved for the most part and things like that. So
the thing that,
interesting challenge.
The thing about it's not like it's the podcasters market that also sort of, I like, it quickly scared me away from Ripple. Like,
sure.
like I very quickly realized like that's
a market.
It's tough, like, because it's like, unless you're in hosting, because like you do need to pay for a host, but outside of hosting, it's so tough. If you're like selling like editing services, but even that's going away with all the tools being able to like auto edit your stuff these days. Like podcasters, like the challenge that I have as a market to sell a tool to And again, this doesn't even apply to you, Ian, because I think it's great that you're doing this. It's, you know, it's I wouldn't quite call it a passion project. It sounds more serious than that.
Yeah, I would say it's above that, but not all the way to like I'm selling my main business and throwing everything at
exactly,
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
So like what I'm saying here is doesn't really apply to outro, but like in general, the thing that I would have trouble with like the podcasters market is that like even if your podcast is for your business, a lot of them are just for fun, and so then you're just really not going to spend money on it. But even if it's like for your business, it's still like a side hustle in your business, or it's still like an experiment in your business that's not essential in your business. So like does it warrant really spending real dollars on it, unless you're like hiring someone to be your podcast host, you know? But if it's like something that the founder is doing on the side, and like we'll see every now and again, and it's, you know, it's like
it is still surprising. I mean, on one hand, yes, like the podcast market is tiny compared to other markets.
Help desk software, right?
Help desk software, email newsletter software, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm always surprised at how much people do pay for in addition to hosting. So there's this this tool called Podpage. Says they're used by 30,000 podcasters. I talked to the founder of this, and people are paying like an extra $12, $19, or $39 a month.
$20 a month on average, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And
what is it, like a website for podcasts?
It's just a website. So Transistor provides this for free.
Right.
But some people are paying for this, like they're paying for a host, and then they're also paying for a website. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we're using Riverside right now. There's also Descript. You know, Descript is, I don't know, another whatever. And so there are people, you know, it's never going to be like the, you know, it's not going to have the same effect of like Nathan Barry only needs to capture like 3 to 4% of the email newsletter industry to be very, very rich.
To be a billionaire, right? Yeah, right.
But there is opportunity there. The other thing I like about it is I think it's a nice gateway into other prosumer creator types. So you could start with podcasters, but then you're going to get some podcasters in there, and they're going to be like, you know what? I should use this for my YouTube channel. Like my YouTube channel is kind of
on my list for sure. Yes, absolutely.
And it will be interesting to see, like, because podcasts are very nichey, right? Like you're gonna like. Oh, like maybe like sports podcasts really resonate with outro, or maybe like the mom bloggers really resonate with it, or I don't know, whatever.
It gets picked up by a niche or whatever.
Yeah. And there's also other things kind of in the water. Like you said, build community, like a podcast is a community. And I just think about tools like Luma, which I've been using to organize my Geek Beers meetup. Well, this is like, it's like you have this idea of events, you have this idea of newsletter, you have this idea of payments. I think there's a lot in the water here of like, you know, creators and meetup organizers and community people who are, you know, building these things or using additional tools. The other one, of course, is Patreon. And, you know, like Patreon people are supporting it. We're posting things. People can comment. And this is like just in podcasting revenue, they did $350 million in revenue in terms of what people were contributing through Patreon. So there's stuff here, you know, there's community.
The other thing,
and that's what Patreon to me is like, there's no product that does what Outro does in a holistic sense, but to me, Patreon is our competition. Like Patreon is the place people are spending money that I want them to not spend money anymore and instead use Outro. Like if you want to have memberships for your podcast, I want you to use Outro, not Patreon. If you want to sell sponsorships, which isn't exactly what Patreon does, but let's say I want you to use Outro, not Patreon, right? Like to me, that's like the place where there's like a direct competition, and where I feel like Patreon is okay, but it's really kind of generic and wonky. And it's like, could we have a Patreon for podcasts that understands it's a podcast and they can do cool things around that, as opposed to being just like, this is like, for some people it's an OnlyFans alternative, right? For some people it's you know, from my knitting club. Like Patreon has to cater to everybody in a generic sense. where outro doesn't have to.
I think the other advantage is that we are in a community of tech podcasters that have been doing this for a long time. So I thought of the changelog. I mean, the changelog has been doing memberships, events, and community forever. 5x5 did this back in the day. West Boston Syntax is doing this as well. So there's a lot of existing momentum. And I mean, even if you just started off and all you were doing is selling this to tech podcasters that had done well,
right?
I think you would be,
and it could be okay.
There's also just so much opportunity in doing this in an opinionated way. Everything from, we're going to create a podcast planner that is super opinionated. It's going to help Justin and Brian make these episodes not an hour and a half. It's going to help them get the episode down to 45 minutes. And it's going to be like, do this, then do this, no longer than 20 minutes. Like, you can be opinionated in how you set some of this up. And
I feel like from a product,
people will pay for it, I think.
Well,
I think from a product
of that,
like which
like
segment
just
of
in
the
terms
market.
of making your podcast longer, even like I feel like sometimes people don't know what to say if you're just getting started. It's like, no, plan this out, right? And this helps you plan it so you actually make full episodes.
Well,
What were we saying,
that's
Brian?
the thing, is that like which segment of the podcasters market would this be for? Because like that's the other challenge I think with podcasters, is that like it's very rare for a small podcaster to become a large podcaster. Usually small gets a little bit of traction to a point, like, but like we are not going to become like the next Ringer, right? So
since
it's like,
I'm willing to be patient, my plan, and I've actually had this interesting discussion with like the designers about this in the logo, because obviously if you're going more after like existing podcasts, you might go more conservative and be like, we are an enterprisey type tool and you're safe with us and all that kind of stuff. Or we're going to go more exciting and like for the earlier in their journey podcasts. And to me, that I think is the play.
and I feel like the earlier you are in the journey, the more opinionated the tool, like you are shaping how they
this is the
podcast.
right way to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
And
whereas like if you're trying to sell to existing podcasters, they already have their own workflows. It's a question of like whether they can adapt to what you're offering, or
exactly.
you're going to
and especially with the things I plan to charge money for, since I don't plan on charging money for the actual organization part, like in terms of planning your episodes, like it's a much bigger lift to be like, hey, I know you went out and set up MailChimp and you got Patreon and all that stuff, but now you need to like move all that stuff into outro and blah, blah, like, and hopefully some people do that, right? And we will make sure that the tools are there so they could do it. But that's just a much higher bar versus like get in with younger podcasts. And then as some of those become bigger podcasts, right? Well, now they have 10,000 emails in their outro mail list. Well, now it's the reverse lock-in, right? Well, now leaving outro is hard because now am I gonna set up MailChimp and Patreon and blah, blah, and do all this stuff and export everything and blah, and hope it works. Like, so yes. And in terms of even like the goals that what you guys were talking about earlier, it's like, I feel like my goal for this is fairly, I'm not trying to go public here. It's like I've said on Mostly Technical, it's like my big success goal is $50,000 a month. If this could get to $50,000 a month, I will be like, hot damn, that was an awesome success, And so it won't be as big as HelpSpot, and that's fine. So that to me is kind of like, I feel like achievable, even if I can't get, huge numbers of podcasts to pay, or you can't get the biggest podcast to move or things like that, that it's not so much money that it's not achievable. So that's the goal. Who knows? Maybe nobody will want to pay for it. Maybe I'll never even finish building it. I think that's unlikely, but you never know. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking about those parts.
Yeah. I mean, there is something about building a second product. It's so funny. Like, you get to a point and you're like, okay, this is stable. For me, there's always like this feeling of like, yeah, but I should have a second product just as a backup.
Yeah,
I'm just so psyched that Ian is doing
backup revenue
product.
stream.
I mean, you've done other products before too, but like,
but none have worked.
I feel like they're
none
few and
have
far
worked,
between.
really.
I feel like you do a product, like a side product outside of HelpSpot, and then 3 or 4 years go by before you do the next one.
That's kind of
I'm probably overstating that, but
no, that's about right. But like,
I mean, the other thing is, the other thing is that outro could help you and Aaron really improve the podcast and make a bunch more money from the podcast. And so it could just be like you built it for yourself and you're the primary user.
Their sponsor
but-
business seems to be cooking.
I mean,
right
it could help you get to $50K a month in just mostly technical business, right?
I mean, this is like a really fascinating part of this because I feel like we didn't even talk about this yet, but like one of the things I really want Outro to do is take over the sponsorship sales thing I have for Mostly Technical, which is like a little terrible thing I slapped together in the afternoon, and do a better
like
version
that's
of that.
a product.
And like that's a product, right? And it's like, and again, I think people could use that on its own without using none of these things will be tied together in a way where you couldn't cherry pick. So you could just use the sponsorship stuff and pay us our cut of that and not use the rest of it. So that's fine. But it's like we have people asking us for like, they just want to be on subscription with their sponsorships. Like they just literally want to subscribe as a sponsor forever. And right now, like my little thing I threw together doesn't do that, right? So I want to do that so I can have that money for Mostly Technical and have that permanent sponsorship. But it's like so many podcasts. I mean, not like Mostly Technical is a giant podcast with 100,000 listeners. Like, you know, it's probably got across YouTube and audio and everything like 4,000 or 5,000 listeners, right? Or maybe, yeah, probably about 4,000. And like, you know, we charge $1,000 an ad. And like, so, you know, if you could make an extra $4,000 or $5,000 a month and you're just, I think there's a lot of podcasts out there that maybe don't even realize that they could, or not sure how they do it. Or it's like, well, I got to set up Stripe and I got to figure this thing out and collect the money and blah, blah. So like just making these things more available and easy and obvious. And like, yeah, why wouldn't I try that? I'll push this button and have like a little page now where I can collect, you know, sponsorships. And when I get one, it'll put it into the episode rundown. So I know I don't forget the ad read because it's already in the episode and all those little things. And that's where like it magically works together nicely because it knows you have ads and it knows where to put them and all that kind of stuff.
The thing I got really excited about a couple of years ago was this dynamic insertion, which I know you have on Transistor. I've used it a bunch on some of my podcasts. But a couple of years ago, I think before you guys launched that, like I was really thinking about that as like a potential SaaS product that I might do someday, which I'm definitely not. But like but I like that was always super interesting to me. And it's become more popular now, especially with larger podcasts. But like, I feel like that's something that like even smaller podcasts can really benefit from because it's like once you get to like 50 episodes or 100 episodes, the idea of being able to sell spots on your past episodes, you know, and like insert them and like and sell them for periods of time and rotate them. That's a really interesting model, you know. It's technically challenging. But.
Yeah, I know even if we end up with tons of free users, right? Maybe there's like, you know, you could have bigger sponsors who sponsor across the network, and people could opt into that and things like that, right? Like,
I mean, if you end up with tons of free users, you could make $50,000 a month just being an affiliate for Transistor.
There we go. Well, that's already on my list.
There we go.
To be an affiliate of Transistor, that is high on my list of things to do.
Let's get it going.
You guys do the thing where you pay out, you like continuously pay, right?
Yeah, I think we're one of the last ones standing. 25% ongoing for as long as they're a customer.
Dude, this is literally like I plan on having that in like the onboarding of like Transistors. I recommend if you're so early that you don't yet have, you know, your host, like. We recommend Transistor.
Let's do it.
I still have
already built the Transistor API integration, so it pulls in the stats and shows them on your dashboard. So yeah, it's
you scratch my back, Aaron. Ian, I'll scratch yours. Yeah. That's so great. I mean, there's one thing we're getting a little bit late here, but one thing that keeps coming up that would be a good conversation for maybe another time, or maybe we can talk about it a bit right now. But I keep thinking about like. If you think about,
he's pulling out the pad.
I'm pulling out
drawing out. Yeah,
I'll pull out the pad.
Getting serious.
I'll describe it for people listening via audio. But if you think about like the amount of work to get to something as a big arc, what I'm always thinking about is like whatever the payout is at the end. So you have like, okay, this made, you know, like when I did my course, I did all this work and then I got this payout. And this was like maybe my line for like, you know, like success was here, but in order for it to be awesome, I really needed it to be up here. Right. And then Adam Wathan released his course, and his was like way up here, right? Yeah. Like he just made so much more from the same amount of work. And I think we talked about this last week, like this asymmetry between investment and then what you get out of it. And then the tricky part in business is that every business has its cadence like this. Like if you're consulting, you like do some work and then you hope you get a little payoff, and then you do some work the next month and then you hope you can bill your clients. The nice thing about SaaS is you do some work and then you're just hoping that it builds up to like revenue increasing every month.
Right.
And that could feel like, that feeling of just knowing like we're doing a bit better than we were the previous month.
I just want to break those down, like the top one and the bottom one, the differences between like because I think a lot about like what you guys have been talking about, you and Aaron, about like the courses business and then like comparing that to the SaaS concept that you're saying there, Justin, like putting a lot of work and a lot of hours and a lot of sweat into creating a large course on a bet that it's going to be a hit feels like a lot. I mean,
these are all bets too. Like the amount of work you're putting in is the bet. Like that's, I'm betting this time.
I do think like this gets back to like, because even the thing with a SaaS, when it comes to validation, you're going to have early signs that like you're on the right track. So even if it's very low MRR or beta users, and there you can have a form of this with courses too. But like anything you can do to get clues that like it's okay or it's justified to keep putting more hours into this. And it's different for every person, their own goals. We were just talking about this with Ian, like in your case, this matters a lot less, but like, that's something that's constantly on my mind when because I do spend a ton of hours. I have the perfectionist bug that like, I want to, I hate things that are like half built and not buttoned up, but like the longer it goes without at least putting it out there and asking for money for something, the more uncomfortable I get, like while I work on it, And
my experience with the course/membership business and why I think it was hard is that, I mean, this is what's hard with anything. This is why whatever ends up getting traction becomes your favorite thing, because it's just like for Adam, when he released that course, he was like, this is the best ever. I love this. This is a money machine. It's just like spitting out money. And then he did it again 2 more times. And it was like, this is so easy. Whereas for me, I got into like, I launched this course and it did great, but it wasn't enough that I didn't need to launch another course the next year. And so, and that one did a bit better, but it was still not like quite at that line of like, I can relax a little bit. It was just like, no, I got myself in. And then the problem with this is that with, especially like one-time sales and courses and even memberships, is if you do one of these bets and it doesn't do well, that really hurts. Right, then it just feels like you're way below your threshold.
See, I actually don't think that hurts as much as middling success.
I think that's
even worse.
I think that's
like the total flat out failure. Even if you busted your ass for 3 or 4 months building that thing, in the grand scheme of things, that's only 4 months that you wasted on a failed product. I would love it if something totally flopped and it only cost me 4 months. Mm-hmm. But like, where I came to is, listeners know, like with Clarity Flow, which I still run, like it got to a point where it's a level of success that I can't shut it down. Mm-hmm. It's not even close to that. It's also not at a point where I'm not like actively trying to sell it or anything like that. But it's also like it's costing years.
Yeah.
So then it's like opportunity cost in my career. Like I can't just be all in on it for years on end if it's not reaching certain goals. And that's why I turned my focus a couple of years ago from it. But like that's the hardest thing. And that's always been like, what do you do with these projects that make a little bit of money on the side?
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot
at
easier
one point, like in 2021, I had a bunch of those and I sold them all off.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like easy to do on that one time. But then it's like, then things get complicated.
I think this is the one thing that people don't talk about enough is there is, even if you did, I mean, you see this in the indie hacker community all the time. The kid that had the massive success 2 years ago, what happened to that kid? Like now that product's not doing any revenue. It all turned away, like to get a sustainable, lasting business, what does it take? And
I mean, that's honestly why I'm also down on SaaS in general, in terms of like what you're going to invest in starting up in 2025, because I'm pretty confident that a lot of solid product people and entrepreneurs can build and launch a SaaS and get customers. Like that's not a problem still. You can definitely do that.
Yeah.
The question is, if you commit to that as your business 2 or 3 years in, is the churn going to plateau it? And then what do you do with it? Like, do you keep going? Do you get investment? Do you shut it down? Do you sell it? Like, whereas a course or something else, like you could see where it goes and you can see what it's going to be pretty quickly. And by pretty quickly, I mean like a couple months, not just overnight.
I think what I'm exploring is there is something about how big of a splash is this thing going to make is one kind of thought. But there's also just, I think you do start to get a sense of like, does this thing have enough legs? And sometimes you have to go through a bunch of experiences to know this. Like if I was going to launch a course today, I would have a sense of like, for me at my point, like that course would need to make 500 grand in its first year for me to feel like it's got legs, because I know what it's like to sell a course and do 100 grand in a year and 150 grand in a year. And I know that feeling of feeling like I was just always behind. But so you start to get a sense of like, what does it take in these different categories? And I launched plenty of SaaS businesses before that they didn't have the, and it really, pretty quick as soon as people sign up and you're like Ian's going to get a bunch of podcasters in support and he's going to be like, okay, like, is this what I'm signing up for? Yeah. So there is, there is something about that feeling of, am I getting to the point where this thing just has legs? And you can have, sometimes something can look like it has legs, like, oh wow, that course did 50 grand, but then it's like, that's not enough for this to be a sustainable business. And this is why I actually think,
but that's also enough individual people. Like that's the thing, is like 50K in sales for a course represents like what, a couple hundred customers at least. So like, that's a sizable number of people that, even if that's all that individual course is going to get, you can learn about what the follow-up to that course should be to keep the business going.
Yeah. But when I was in that cycle.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like that launch cycle. That's why I do prefer like a membership model over the launch model.
All of these businesses have characteristics that are innate to them. I still think SaaS is the best. I think it's the best for independent people.
Yeah.
It is difficult, yes, but what is also difficult was me getting caught in the cycle of like, oh fuck, I got to launch this thing, and then I tried something new and it didn't work, and it's like, oh shit, and then that feeling was also hard, and I think SaaS still has lots of opportunities that can be taken advantage of. Not saying that you shouldn't pursue your thing, like it can be good, but it's just all of these businesses have characteristics. Like for example, one thing about
it just goes back to like, because whatever I say about SaaS only applies to me and my experience. So anyone listening to this should not hear what I'm saying and say like, SaaS is dead. Don't do, like, most people probably should do SaaS. It's still a fantastic, I agree, it's like the holy grail of the business model.
You're talking about doing SaaS anyway, right? SaaS is really what we're talking about, is the business model of a subscription, right?
Yeah.
So like, right? So like the subscription business model, whatever. It's like, it doesn't matter that what your SaaS is going to be videos.
But, well, it's a little bit different in terms of the customer and the product market fit, right? Like people buying a course or buying community, they're solving a different problem than a business who needs to plug a tool into their operation.
See, but I guess this is where you and me, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I think we differ on what you're actually selling. for builder methods, because I don't think people are buying a community. Like, I don't think they want to pay money for that. No, I'm not saying nobody wants to pay money for it, but I don't know if there's enough people that want to pay money for purely a community. I think people are plugging a hole. I think people are searching in Google right now for like, how the heck do I AI develop today? What's vibe coding stuff? How do I do this efficiently? How do I do this better? What do I say to my boss who's telling me I must use AI, and then I have to tell him it's actually not as efficient as you think it is, and I have to expectations set him, right? Like, all those kind of things. I think that's exactly what they're trying to buy from you, right? So,
I totally agree with that. Like, yeah, and I'm not saying like it's not solving a pain. I'm saying the job to be done that it's solving is very different than what like HelpSpot does for a customer. Like, they're plugging that into their operation.
You think that's true? I don't know.
Yeah, because like a business buying a SaaS tool, they're not trying to learn anything. They're trying to solve a job to be done in their business operations.
But I think that's the same thing. I think I'm trying to solve for, I want my devs to be more
They're the same in that, yes, they are
tools.
both jobs to be done. I'm just saying they're very different jobs.
I guess, sort of. I think in the big conceptual picture, they're pretty similar. But yeah, I mean, obviously the nuts and bolts of it are different.
Getting back to the community versus courses thing, I mean, I definitely see sort of demand in the audience for both. The thing that gives me a little bit of pause about like saying like the vast majority of people are coming for the educational content is that, like, number one, most if not all of this educational content is available A, on YouTube, but B, just in the docs. Like, if you look at like the Claude Code docs or the Codex docs, like it's actually very easy to pick up how these tools technically work. You could do it in a day. So that is where I think community, but you could also say that like maybe the way that I explain certain courses or show example content.
Agent OS, right? Putting it all together. I mean, you could say the same thing about Laracast. There's nothing in Laracast that's not in the Laravel docs because it's just about Laravel, right? Like,
but people do. So I think people do value community, not for like the hanging out part of it so much, but it's like the seeing what other people are doing.
Sure.
Like,
I'm not saying they don't value it at all, but to me, it's like the sugar on top of the value I bought from you, as opposed to it is the value I'm buying from you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, especially for like teams. Like, if an individual wanders in and buys this, right? That could be whether their motivation could be different.
It has to be both. Like,
right.
I agree that it can't just be about community. I don't want to just sell that. But I also think that I can't just sell courses and not offer some sort of community.
No, I think you absolutely should have a community aspect to it. I'm not saying it shouldn't, but I guess to me, like, the big difference too of like, it's all ties in with like courses. So if we're selling a course, right, you do all the work and you sell it, you get the big bump, nobody buys it again, right? A big part of that is because obviously the course is good and people bought it and they liked it, right? But the thing is, almost always the case is that you're selling a course into your existing audience. Those are almost all the customers for it. And then as soon as you've maximized that existing audience, like, you have no more customers. There is no more customers after you've sold into your audience, right?
Right.
So the difference with like a SaaS app or even something like a subscription video course is that that's not true. Like, I've never sold into my audience ever, right? I don't even have an audience in terms of HelpSpot sales. And in outro sales, I won't either. It's going to be that like people are searching for solutions to certain problems, whether it's an AI search or a Google search, and then you will be there. You will either have an ad or you will have content that gets you ranked in front of them, right? Whatever it is, like, you have a solution to their problem that's ongoing, and that's why you can then sell on an ongoing basis. And you're not limited to only the people who know about Ian Landsman.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, a couple of things with that is that, like, number one, on the course side, on the course business, like, yes, like you could easily like sort of exhaust your existing current audience, but if you have a funnel where you're constantly being introduced and exposed to new people every day, like people are discovering on YouTube every day, or you're running an ads funnel or something like that, any business can have a top of funnel that just produces new leads every day, right?
Right, but I just think
the other thing about SaaS, what makes selling SaaS actually harder than selling courses or coaching or community is that when you choose to buy a SaaS, you're choosing not to buy all the competitors.
The comments are funny. Yeah.
I can't
Yelling in the comments.
Aaron's saying, "Don't dare stop the show. This is the best part."
Yeah, now we're
Look,
fighting, so we gotta keep it going. Yeah.
like if you're choosing HelpSpot, you're choosing not to use all your competitors.
Right.
So making that sale is harder. You have to convince customers to either switch away or choose yours.
People have to
over
be
the competitor.
trained.
Whereas like
all the stuff.
people buy 10 different courses for the same thing. You know,
I bought 100 courses. I never watched any of them, but I bought 100 of them. I've literally never watched a complete course.
I mean, that's what
life.
you know, and then also like keeping them as customers. Like it's a battle of keeping them from switching to another competitor when you know.
I mean, there's lots in there too. Like I bought 100 courses. I never watched any of them. Sounds like a country music lyric. What's motivating people? What motivates people to stay?
At the end of the day, every model is great. Like pros and cons.
It can be. It was interesting for me to sit around with Wes and Adam and Steve and Caleb, who have all tried courses, and Wes does have a very good funnel. He gets like 400 free signups to his free JavaScript. Like I think it's 400 free a day or something. Like
I'm sure it is,
crazy. Yeah. So you can create that, and I think, Brian, it's worth exploring it, because if you hit that pay dirt, like oil is gushing,
it still gives me pause. Like the volume play still gives me pause. But that being said, I think it's better than just a personality driven, like buy my course and then the launch goes away and it's over. It's better if there's an ongoing demand and there's a solid funnel that I know every single month I can drive this many people through it. You know?
Yeah, and that's what happened with Wes. He was one of the first people to do the JavaScript education thing. He did it well. He had this big free course that just drives tons of top of funnel for him. And you know, if he doesn't now, he's not even really using that funnel that much. But it's possible. Like that does happen. So
this is always like, to me, like it's like, if we can bring it back to a topic from near the beginning before we even start recording, which is, it's kind of like DHH's advice, right? Like a lot of DHH advice, there is a presumed starting point of become extremely famous. And then if you do that, his advice makes more sense. Like if you run the largest framework in the world for web development, and then you do the things he says to do, you will make lots of money, like for sure. But the problem is, like, the advice comes from this presumption of you will become famous first, right? And so, like, that's where I feel like a lot of the problems with this stuff. Like Wes Boss is famous, right? And so he has a podcast that has 200,000 listeners or whatever, right? And he's like built up this huge audience. But the problem is, building up a huge audience is freaking harder than selling a product that solves a pain point to somebody who is right now in pain and wants to pay money to get rid of the pain, right? So like that to me is always the problem with this kind of like build the audience as the main goal, is that it's like, it's extremely hard. And I think it's harder than just finding the right angle for your product in the right market. So like, again, like with everybody wants AI anything, right? And they're like, give me solutions to AI stuff. How can I make my from a manager level, how can my team make this work? From an individual contributor level, how do I make it work? There's all these questions. There's no right answers. There's no good guidance, right? There's all this stuff. Like there's a lot of people looking for solutions to that problem, where you could just be there with a solution and they don't have to know Brian Casel. And
but
that's
I feel
not
like
that you shouldn't have that. Not that you shouldn't do that too. You should. But I think that's still separate from the idea of like, you could just run Google ads that are like, hey, AI tutorials, right? Like, boom. That's the right keywords, but you know what I mean.
Well, wait a minute. Are we talking about selling tutorials or selling a SaaS?
No. Well, selling your subscription tutorials. Subscription,
because I thought you were saying So I don't think that the playbook for selling SaaS should be build your personal audience so that you can sell the SaaS. I think audience is more geared for selling courses, tutorials, community. But the idea of like just creating a perfect solution to a problem that businesses have, if you have zero reach, zero distribution, even if that pain point exists, you still have to figure out how to get in front of those people at the time that they have the problem and have the sales cycle that gets them to switch off the competitors. I'm talking about SaaS here. So that is what's so much harder in 2025. Like the playbook of just run Google ads, or as people are searching in Google for SEO for all these problems, like that is extremely overcrowded now and going away. So starting up in 2025, that's why my personal stance on it is that like you can have a good solution to a problem. Like I'm building this newsletter lab thing. Like I think it's a pretty good solution. I don't expect to get a lot of customers on it because I'm not going to reach many, like I don't have a funnel to do that out of the gate.
I mean, Google's revenue last year was $307 billion. Actually, it was 2023. So like, is it going away? I don't know. Like it's going to be less.
No, it's not.
It's going down. Right? I mean, it's going up. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like
organic traffic in general is going down, but even if
organic
it's not,
traffic is trashed, of course. Organic traffic's gone.
But even if it's not, it's extremely competitive. So if you're a new player with no traction yet, even if you have a great solution to an existing problem, how are you going to get on page one?
You're going to pay money.
I'm not saying it's a dead end. I'm just saying it's a really long game. Right?
Yeah, I think there's more. I think the like days of like Google is going to give me 100% of the value, right, of this transaction are gone, right? Like because like your organic links on Google are like literally 3 pages down, right? There's like the AI summary, and there's ads, and there's a box, and there's a map, and there's a right. So like okay, that stuff's been hurting and still hurting for sure. But I don't know about the ads. Like I feel like the ads. I mean, while OpenAI doesn't include ads, Google is going to be happy to include ads in their AI summaries, right? And so I don't know. I just think it's not going to be as profitable as it was because it used to be you could just rank for 1, 2, or 3, and you just got literally free money after that. And that's definitely gone. But kind of like who cares? Like if I have to pay 80%, again as a subscription, right? I can pay 150% of first year revenue and it's still super profitable, right? So, and Google knows that, and their algorithms all know that, and they've got it all dialed in, right? So it's not
right. But you can fund that. Then it's the question of like if you're doing SaaS,
funding,
like how do you start from zero? How do you fund it? Do you go the investment route? Do you have to have a big savings built or some cash to throw at it? Like
do you go? I mean, there's always like I think part of the answer is always more work, right? Like yes, like even for me to go be page 1, link 1, help desk software, $150 a click. So even for me, I can't do $150 a click. Like not gonna happen.
Yeah,
a click. So not a conversion, a click. Which I don't even understand how Zendesk and these guys are paying that because like isn't there fraud and all this stuff? Whatever, somebody's paying it, right? So fine. But obviously, as soon as you make it just even slightly different, right? It's like now it's $15 a click. Once you add like one word in, like whatever, email help
desk for universities,
right? All that stuff, right? All the variations. Well, now it's $15 a click or $20 a click, which now I can do it. So. So I think it's that kind of stuff and optimizing and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. So it's a lot of work. I'm not saying it's not, but that's also what we're signing up for too. That's the deal, right? Yep. Like if it was easy, everybody would do it, but everybody can't do it. So
I really think that the play with SaaS is like use whatever unfair advantage you have. If you're already if you've been working in an industry and you have some insight about a problem that nobody else really knows about unless they're an insider, and you have contacts in this industry, you know where your first 10 customers can come from. Yeah, like that's what you got to be doing.
That's the play with every business. What unfair advantage can you bring to the table?
And that's even the thing with the courses, right? It's like you have the unfair advantage of an audience, right? Let's say whether you're Aaron or Brian or Justin, you have some kind of audience, right? 10,000 to 100,000 people who's in your overall audience. That's a huge unfair advantage, right? So then it's just like, what are you selling those people? Like selling them a subscription is way better than selling them a one-time course.
Yes.
Right? So things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the approach of selling a membership is a good idea. And this is the thing, is like early on, like until you launch it, Brian, that's the unfortunate part is that you don't know until you've launched it and it's out, and then these people are going to show up. And then you just have to like talk to those people and figure out, is there enough people here? Is there enough of the right people here? what kind of groups are here, what do they all expect. Like you might just have all indie devs that are using AI for the first time. It's like, okay, is this a good customer?
I have a lot of info and response from a lot of surveys, a lot of emails, a lot of conversations right now.
That you got 100 people to pull out their wallet and pay $25 for this workshop, I think is unbelievable.
Yeah. You know, I think it is too. I was expecting like maybe 2.
Right, exactly. Like, so I think that's like, yeah, you just got to start selling stuff to these people. They're ready to buy, you know.
On the membership piece, like, yeah, I always prefer recurring revenue over spiky non-recurring, but that's not really the main driver behind choosing that model for me. It's more about like, I don't want to have or have to create these one big standalone single topic courses. I think it's better to have at least in this space, to have
for sure
a feed of smaller, quicker to consume, but also from a topic standpoint, being able to jump around and do a couple videos on Codex, do a couple videos on Claude Code, a couple videos on whatever, using AI to build some Tailwind stuff, like jumping around and then being able to do a Claude Code specific video today, and then like 2 months from now do another one, so that it's up to date, rather than investing all this time in a single course that's going to go out of date in like 2 months in this space.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. I mean, the beauty of
like
SaaS,
just from a content and product standpoint, I think it fits that membership Laracats kind of model better, you know.
And the whole thing with SaaS is it creates practically perfect alignment between the motivations on both sides. Like, you are motivated to keep producing content because the money comes in, it's not stopping. And they are motivated to keep paying you because you are still producing content, right? And if one of those things goes off, then the transaction is dead and they leave or whatever, or you leave and they stop paying and whatever. But like, there is perfect alignment versus the other models where there's actually not alignment. There's no motivation. It's like every course is like ongoing updates, but like, what is the actual motivation for ongoing updates if you're never getting paid again, right? Like, it's very low. So that's where the SaaS, the memberships, ongoing subscription, is very beneficial to both parties.
And the great thing is, we could all be wrong.
We could be.
Like, people could show up and they could just be like, we are just paying to be in this Discord, and it's because Brian is cultivating this thing and bringing all these people together.
That would be amazing.
It's like the
I think if
Mensa or something.
I mean, Justin, you had a network like that, right? Wasn't like Mega Maker basically that?
That's still going.
Still going, yeah.
Okay,
still going.
Yeah. Do people pay for that, or is it free? It's paid, right?
Yeah, they pay one time. Yeah. It's
okay.
lifetime. Yeah. It started off as a membership, but
do you get new members?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah, we still get new members. Yeah. All right, I think we got to wind down. We've done a Herculean.
Only been 2 hours.
Is it 2 hours? Although there's some people just showing up here.
So some people are like, they're ready for another 2 hours.
I'm starting to hear Ian lose his voice. He's getting conference voice already.
I know. I've been talking all day. It's unbelievable.
Well, I want to thank.
Get him going on DHH. That's it.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to talk about the DHH
I didn't get to take
stuff.
my victory lap about how I was on your podcast. I'd predicted
we haven't even talked about it. We were going to talk about
it. I know. That is.
Man.
But even then, we could have all sorts of critiques, everything. DHH is doing just fine.
He'll be okay. He's not starving.
He tweeted about
his
latest race car. So.
He bought a new $300 million race car.
This is the point of the live stream where we need to have a pay-per-view for the
after hours.
It's like
after party.
You want the after hours DHH talk?
Hot
okay,
takes.
that's
it's $10.
$10.
Pony up the cash, people.
All right. Well, thanks, Ian, for being here. It's great to have you on. We'll have to have you back again. I think this one, we touched on so many things that affect so many people. So I think we're going to get a lot of comments on this. We might have to have a follow-up discussion.
Cool.
And thanks to everyone who showed up live in the chat. As always, great to see some new faces in there. We got Bo just showed up, and CMAC, which is just a bunch of acronyms. But great to see Pascal.
Look at Bo is a Builder Methods customer.
There's actually
$25.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of familiar faces in here.
All right.
Yeah, that's the real-time feedback. All right, everyone. Thanks again for sticking with us. We had the most concurrent viewers, and for the longest, they're still
This
with
is
us.
can we see the
numbers, baby?
Where do we see the actual numbers on this thing?
And that's here. I mean, it's
I feel
not
so
that.
old.
It's not crazy.
50,000, 100,000?
No, there's 20 people here the whole
We're
time.
breaking the internet here.
We're breaking the internet.
This is Taylor Swift
Cloudflare's
numbers.
gone down. It's too much. AWS East is offline from us here. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Talk to you later.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.